Let's Talk Marketplace.
Der Marktplatz-Podcast mit Ingrid Lommer und Valerie Dichtel.
Good morning and welcome everyone to Let's Talk Marketplace, episode 42, today again in English. Valerie, why are we talking English today?
Hello from my side as well. We are talking English today because we're talking about the B2C European sports marketplaces and which are relevant ones for, sports brands who want to sell there. And actually, the sports industry, I would say, is a bit more international than, no, it's not more international than the fashion brands. But to be honest, I have a lot of clients with headquarters outside of Germany.
Yeah.
And so I thought it would be time to be more international. And therefore, I ask you to do this episode today in English.
Yeah, so let's do that. Yeah, great idea. For everyone out there speaking English and not regularly listening into Let's Talk Marketplace, my name is Ingrid Lommer, journalist in the German e-commerce magazine Internet World. And we too, me and Valerie, we have been doing this podcast for now, what?
1.5 years.
1.5 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
So quite a while. So Valerie, why I'm talking about marketplaces with you for all those people who haven't listened in so far?
Yeah, hey, my name is Valerie Dichtel. I'm the founder of Marketplace Uni and an expert in fashion, e-commerce, and marketplace business and sports business for about 13 years already. And I started my journey at Amazon Fashion in Munich as a bad vendor manager, and now
one of those.
And now I really connect marketplace managers and do a lot of network. Yesterday, someone called me a marketplace influencer.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
okay.
me too. I was like, okay, maybe I should retype my position on LinkedIn.
Marketplace influencer. Sounds really good in LinkedIn, I think.
It definitely would match to you as well, Ingrid.
Yeah, after all this time, I think so. Anyway, so how you don't sound that healthy today. Are you still cold?
Yes, actually, it's our second trial this week to record this episode because I had such a big cold that I was not able to really speak fluently. So I give my best today, and because it's really, really important that we are healthy back, or that I'm healthy back next week.
Please.
Because what's next week, Ingrid?
Marketplace convention.
Yay!
The marketplace event in the DACH region, I would say. And I've been putting this together with my partner in crime, UL Petkau, for the last around about 9 months. So I can hardly wait, actually, to finally meet you all in Cologne and see how all my nice plans and great program plays out on stage. And you're there as well, Valerie, and we're going to do something together. So this is why I need you in tip-top condition and your voice too. So drink tea and honey and stuff.
Yeah, me too. That will be a crazy conference week. I'm so much looking forward to do the keynote with you as well, because we will also talk about relevant marketplaces in so many different categories. As you might know, I did the Marktplatz quadrant, which is an overview about relevant marketplaces per category. And these are really successful. We post them usually on LinkedIn. And so if you follow me, then you can see them as well. Last week, we posted the 4th update about fashion marketplaces, and we got over 50,000 impressions.
Really?
So, yeah, it's really crazy. So sometimes I'm a bit late in my responses in LinkedIn because it's 50 new requests. And I'm okay, let's try to figure it out. Yeah. So, I'm really excited. So did you sold now all the tickets for next week, or how it is?
Well, we sold everything that we wanted to sell, because if you book a location, you normally get a recommended number of people that should fit in that place. And this is the number of tickets you can sell. And we sold all of those. But we sold all of those 2 or 3 weeks ago. So then UL called our location and was going don't you think we could fit in a bit more people? Just a few more. And I think he squeezed out a few more places. And so there are still tickets to buy, but I have exceeded all my plans so far, so I'm happy. And if anyone still wants to join, they are very welcome, and I'm very happy to have you all there. But theoretically, we are sold out, but I think a few more people might fit in. So yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
really looking forward to that.
really exciting because when we post this episode, it's actually tomorrow, right? So yeah, I'm also excited because we have together with Moveset, I have also a networking event. We do the Ahead on Marketplace event on Tuesday night. So on the 24th of October, also in Cologne. And this is also completely sold out. And so I'm really excited about next week. And the ECD Global in Paris is as well. So I'm going straight from Cologne to Paris. So
it's just a few days after, is it?
It's one day after.
Someone didn't check their dates. Okay, right. Yeah. So you're like flying directly from Cologne to Paris then?
Yeah, I go by train actually. It's super easy, yeah. 3 hours, easy. Yeah. Okay. So that will be a tough conference week, but I'm looking forward to. Yeah. And it's actually also the last events I visit this year physically in our industry.
Yeah, but there's not that much more coming in winter anyway, I think.
Yeah, because overall everyone is like preparing for Q4 and like stressing out about Black Friday, Singles Day, Christmas time. And so and what we are doing actually is we're hosting an AI meets marketplace workshop. That's what we do on the 9th of November online. So we're going like into new topics as well, trying out new formats and at the marketplace only. And like a lot of things happening right now. We're also preparing for the marketplace inner circle next year already. So I would now say like conference week, and then again it's preparation.
Yeah, for next year and what's coming. But what's coming, that's one of those topics, isn't it? That's going to be talked about next week a lot at Marketplace Convention and also at ECD, because what I see in the industry at the moment is like everyone's a bit, I don't know, waiting for things to start again, preparing for the time when things are getting better and the lookout is better, and then we can all restart and go in stuff and do new things. And at the moment I feel there's a lot of change in the air, but simultaneously people are waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, I also have like a lot of like talks right now about like, how is it going? Do you want to attend the workshop? And it's like, the workshop is like 300 euros or something. So but then it's like, no, we don't have budget anymore. No, we got cost cuts and I cannot take part because like XYZ. And what I really hear is like, there's a lot of like changes. I also see that there are a lot of like people changing. So many of like head of marketplaces quit their jobs, and there's so much movement right now in the industry.
Lots of people taking up new positions in other companies, companies shutting down, other companies opening up. There's lots of back and forth going on.
Yeah. So it's really like so much movement at the one point, and on the other point is like, okay, when will it get better, and when do we like have growth numbers again? But it's not for everyone, right? Like I also hear that some niche brands or big brands, they are also still growing on a good scale. So it's not like, oh, everything is so bad, but there's like a lot of like change this year, I would say.
Yeah, that's what I feel as well. And there are lots of stories in some areas, in some industries, where people are telling me, okay, I'm so fully booked, I can't even move. And then the other industries, it's everyone's going on how bad things are. So very mixed feelings this year. Let's hope for just more clear feelings next year, I think.
Yeah.
But you know what? This is strange because I have the same feeling when I put together our newsflash, which we always do at Let's Talk Marketplace, always looking back over the last 2 weeks, what has happened in the marketplace industry. And in this time, or not only this time, last time also, I had the feeling that there's not that much going on. There's a few news to talk about, but not that big stuff. That's sometimes we had full news flashes where we could talk for a whole episode just about the news that were happening. It's not like that at the moment. There's lots of smaller stuff going on, and even there I get the feeling that the bigger companies are still waiting for their innovations, for to push their innovations or to do new things, and everyone's like, okay, let's just get this wretched year over and then we can restart next year. So I don't have that much to talk about. A few things maybe. So should we get over to the newsflash?
Yes, please.
Right. Okay.
Newsflash.
So what definitely happened last week was Prime Day Fall. So the second Prime shopping event this year again. As you all know, Amazon started the Amazon Prime Day Fall last year. That was more of a desperation method because the logistics centers were so full with products that Amazon was not able to really restock for Christmas. So they made this big sale event in fall again. And it was not, for a long time, it wasn't clear if there would be another Prime Day Fall this year, but there was. And there was a lot of skepticism around this event, but I asked around a bit in the industry and heard quite good news about it, actually. It seems to have run quite well in most industries, but not in fashion. That's what I hear. So anything you heard about Prime Day Fall?
Well, actually, to be very honest, no. I have the feeling that it gets less and less important, but I have always my eyes focused on fashion and sports. Yes. So yeah,
that might be the reason. Yes.
Yeah, I often don't have like the full picture. So yeah.
Right. The other thing that I want to point you to are two interesting studies that were published last week. One came out by our colleagues from Channel X, formerly known as Tamebay, and they did a very interesting report on the biggest marketplaces in Europe. This is a study full of fodder. There's a lot of interesting numbers. I will pick a few of those up in our keynote at Marketplace Convention. So that's just a shout out to everyone out there to definitely have a look into that if you're looking for good figures around the marketplace industry. And the second study that I wanted to point you to is the new edition of the Cross-Border Commerce Europe study by CB Commerce. There's a market research company in Brussels. And they do this cross-border study where they always look at, okay, how is the international e-commerce going along? How many people are buying stuff from where they are seated in one country and they're buying from a seller from a different country and stuff like that. So they found that this year, around about 265 billion euro were made with cross-border e-commerce in Europe, and nearly 2/3 of it are made over marketplaces. So are marketplaces even more important when it comes to internationalization, would you say?
Yeah, I would say definitely, because it's much easier to internationalize via marketplaces compared if you like go with your own online shop to a new country, because you have to like reopen a new country, put in new languages, and like put in all like the fulfillment network. And if you want to expand internationally with marketplace business, then it's much easier. For example, if you are selling on Zalando already in Germany and then you want to expand to Italy, then yeah, you need to sign a new contract and like add on the country and get approval for it. But besides that, if you use ZFS, for example, then yeah, it's much more easier and faster to internationalize and also to try out those new markets to see like if it also makes sense to expand with your own online shop, for example, to this country. So yeah, I really like this kind of using marketplaces to try out new markets. And yeah, so I would definitely say yes. And finally, we get some new studies, because studies about marketplace business is always a bit rare and really difficult to find numbers, which also leads us to our topic today. But I would say we have a few more other news, right?
Yeah. Just because you just mentioned ZFS, just to go into the cross-border study for one more information, because that was interesting. They always put together a top 10 of the most important cross-border marketplaces in Europe. And Zalando was always part of that. But this year they fell out. And guess who took their place? Temu.
Oh,
yeah. So this is, which leads me over to my next news, which, is that TikTok Shop started in the US like about a month ago. And the colleagues from Modern Retail asked a few brands which are already using TikTok Shop what they think about it and how it goes. And they're not that enthusiastic. Let's just say that. So they are more like, okay, yeah, it's sort of interesting, but it's a very slow burn. Things are going up, but we can't really see any difference in turnover when we just look at our normal TikTok account. So, of course, if you just have a TikTok account as a company, you don't sell on TikTok itself, but companies are having quite success if they have a good TikTok channel and then lead over to their online shop. That works quite well, obviously. But the TikTok shop is obviously not that learned so far for users.
Okay, but it's still like not so long that it's open, right? So it's kind of a beta phase. So let's see how we will evolve and further expand it or not, or close it again down. Let's see.
Yeah, I think it will be a very interesting platform in the future. I think so.
Yeah.
Right. Talking about platforms with no future, this brings me to Mango. Sorry. But, well, was one of those marketplaces where I only realized they have a marketplace when I read that this said marketplace is being closed. So that is Mango, that's the fashion brand. And it turns out that they had a marketplace for the last 2 years or something, on which I think 2 brands were active, 2 external brands. And now they're closing down this thing, which I think no one is going to miss.
Yeah, well, I mean, you told me the story and I was like, oh, well, true. There was something. Mango is a marketplace, but yeah, it's like, oh, we opened the marketplace. It's not really working. Okay, ciao. We're closing it down. So Mango didn't make it even on our fashion relevant marketplace quadrant. So yeah, I would also say no one is really crying because they are closing.
Talking about marketplaces, I didn't have in my mind that they were marketplaces. We can go over to Sportcheck, which you just reminded me is a marketplace. I'm sorry that I totally forgot about that, but you're right. Of course they are. And they have a new owner. Why don't you talk about that? Because you put that into my newsflash.
That's the only news I put in because usually just Ingrid does it. Yes, I read that Fraser Group acquired Sportcheck from Signa Group. And yeah, Sportcheck is a marketplace in Germany selling their sports goods. So actually it's a good handover to our topic today. And they were mentioned with 350 million euro turnover. So I think that obviously the Fraser Group is more interested also in their brick and mortar stores of Sportcheck. But yeah, Sportcheck is as well a marketplace. And that's also leading us to the topic of today.
Yes, absolutely.
Das Thema der Woche.
So today we wanted to do 2 things. First, we wanted to look into the marketplace economy in the sports area, sports and fashion brands. And on the other hand, we wanted to highlight how you work with your marketplace quadrants, right? Because we're going to show those next week at Marketplace Convention anyway. And so we thought we could talk about your work there. So maybe first, do you want to explain how you get to those marketplace quadrants? Because this is a question that I always see in your comments when you post a new one. How do you do it?
So maybe just to give you an insight what it is, because we're talking about it, right? The Marktplatz quadrants are actually like a graphic where you can see 2 lines. You see the X line, which is handed over from budget segment to luxus and premium segment. So where I sort in the marketplaces with their logos on this picture, is this are there more price entry or are there more luxus and premium products? And then the Y line is from everything marketplace like Amazon to specialized marketplace, which is in our sports example, just marketplaces who are just selling sports products like
Decathlon, for example.
Yeah. So just to give you an overview about what it is. And then on this X and Y line on the cross, I put on all the logos of all the relevant marketplaces in Europe for B2C marketplaces. It's also quite important. And overall, I think we're about 50 different marketplaces in sports right now. So there's actually, a lot of things happening, especially in the sports industry. And how I came up with the idea, actually, I was on Sri Lanka and I thought about I need somehow an overview about the marketplaces. And actually there is no real overview yet. not even on category level. And yeah, sure, we have some rankings, and then they are ranking like the biggest marketplaces and so on. But I wanted like to have an overview per category. So I just put this together and sent it on LinkedIn. And it was like almost like crashing down my LinkedIn because it was like shared so much. And so, yeah, we are updating it constantly. And I think for the fashion, we have already 4 updates, and sports we're talking about today. Yeah.
Yeah. And just to wrap that up, the problem here is that you can now get quite interesting figures on the marketplace business as a whole, and maybe on single marketplaces too. So there's some good analysis for example, Amazon. But if you want to know what marketplaces or which marketplaces are relevant in your special category, then this is really difficult because you don't get any strict figures on that. No marketplace will tell you how much turnover they make in one category, for example. So this is all a bit of a guessing game. How do you put together those marketplaces? How do you decide which logo to put where?
Yeah, that's really a thing. I also thought about like in the first one, like, make it by turnover. But yeah, sure, you can find turnover for Zalando in total at a GMV, but you don't find it on specialized sports categories. And then it's also the next point is like, how do you compare it? Because Zalando offers 26 different countries. Decathlon, for example, in sports is like, I think like 6 or 7 countries right now. But CDON, for example, is just in 1 country. So how can you compare them with the same base? Amazon, if you're lucky, gives you the number in Europe about the turnover about marketplace, but not in terms of the category. So what have I done is like, I put them all together. I picked like all the relevant ones, and I matched them in terms of my experience, what I hear from the industry, from our clients, from the people who are commenting my LinkedIn quadrants, because often then I say like, okay, is there one missing or something? And it's like, this one. And then sometimes like a marketplace writes down, we are also in the meanwhile a marketplace. And I was like, interesting. Never heard about you. So it's really difficult to find out also sometimes who is a marketplace, right? So that's the next point. Some of the marketplaces, they are like Trendyol, for example, they're like, no, we're on the German market. Let's come to us. And they are really doing good marketing and like approaching the whole market. So there you know.
No marketplace yet. They're just an online shop for a long time, at least for a long time, is it?
Yeah, it's true. But they are a marketplace in Germany right now, and they're approaching whole Europe. Quite huge. And then we have other marketplaces like, for example, ASOS. And ASOS is just a marketplace since this year, if we don't talk about the boutique marketplace thingy. And but to find out that ASOS is a marketplace, that was really difficult. So they're not really talking about, they're more hiding than talking. So it's sometimes quite of a guess, like, I guess they're now a marketplace. I heard some rumors, but
from
it's
what I hear.
So, but it's not proven.
Which also explains why this is a work in progress, because you said that you did like 4th edition of the fashion quadrant. So this is always a work in progress, always updating, always reacting to what people tell you or what you hear. Is it?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
So,
Okay, so now we've got the methodology out of the way and everyone knows what we're talking about and what is the basis of this is. Let's move over to the special sports quadrant that we're talking today. So you updated that recently too. So what would you say are the most important marketplaces for sports brands in Europe?
I mean, you always have to differentiate. And then I'm coming to our ECTA alarm. It's like, it's dependent on if you're selling sports fashion or hard goods. But overall, in terms of like sports, to put it all together, I would say Zalando's very important, Amazon, even though you don't want to hear it. But yes, it is super important.
Very important.
And Decathlon, I would say, in Europe, because Decathlon recently is like one of the, I think, the biggest sports retailer in Europe in the meanwhile. And they are really, really huge and expanding their marketplace business quite professionally and expanding their assortment, because as we know, Decathlon has like more like the price entry mid-price segment from their own brands, but they are adding on also like premium brands. to have like a wider assortment to serve their customers pretty well, and like to get them a better customer experience in the end. And that's all what's marketplace business is about, right?
Yes, and adding to Decathlon, I think especially if you have hard goods, then there's hardly any way to get around them, because when I look at your quadrant, there's not that many marketplaces where you can actually sell hard sports goods, is it? I mean, it's Amazon and the other everything marketplaces like Laxos or Otto, stuff like that. And then in the specialist side, there is Decathlon and, well, SportCheck maybe. Is it?
You mean like for hard goods?
For hard goods,
For
yes.
hard goods, I would
Not
say
that big of a...
well, that's not exactly true. So there are like some of the marketplaces who are more focused on hard goods and soft goods, I would say. But for example, Galaxus in Switzerland, they are quite good in hard goods. We have CD-On in Sweden. They are just marketplace only, also quite good in hard goods. SportCheck is more fashionable, I would say. Decathlon hard goods. We have Bull VIP, ProDirect, for example, from, let me check, ProDirect, that I don't say anything wrong, is UK. And they are focused on different categories like soccer, tennis, cricket, and more. We have actually a huge group, which was also quite new. It's the ESRG group. Sprinter is behind it. And we have Perisports and ActiSports from the Netherlands, who also got acquired from Sprinter. Sprinter is mainly a marketplace for sports in Spain and Portugal, but now they acquired Peri and ActiSport from the Netherlands. So Sprinter is going to expand quite soon. So I definitely think we should put them on our radar.
Interesting.
Yeah. We have as well Stadium, and from Sweden as well, Colisée as a quite interesting marketplace from France. They got also a huge funding, and they are really premium and high class sports products selling there.
Yeah, they are really pushing for new sellers outside France as well.
Yes. Yeah. Because they are from, I don't know, LVMH or Kering supported. So they also have a funding from them. We have JD Sports, also UK for sneakers as well. We have, what else? So we have SportCheck from Germany. I also learned that Intersport, again, is a marketplace.
Yeah.
Sport 2000 also told me they're a marketplace, but I never found anyone who is like integrated them. So I'm like...
Okay.
Yes. So that was also, I got a message like from the management team, like, we are also marketplace. I was like, where, when? Never heard about it. Thanks for letting me know, but more of that information maybe. So yeah, obviously, in terms of like, but coming or switching over to fashion, I would say we have, SportCheck as well, Decathlon. Oh, I forgot for the hard goods, Alltricks. Yeah. Also, then fashion again, Zalando, Bräuninger, Wekamp, Modivo from Poland, Galeries Lafayette, and La Redoute from France, Mano from Switzerland. Farfetch is also doing high fashion sporting goods and fashion, definitely. Limango for families. Then we have like the more, I would say, like hypermarket, discounter, everything seller direction of like eBay, Wharton, Cdiscount, Allegro, Kaufland, Bull.com, Amazon, obviously. And we have also the area of like off-price sellers or sales promotion sellers like VP, Sport2, Outlet Team Metzingen, Best Secret, also selling sports fashion. We have Private Sport Shop, which is just a promotion sales platform for sports goods. So everyone is there, I would say, on this whole overview. And you really need to figure out like with which brand I go to which marketplace, because obviously it does make sense to cover like all the 50 marketplaces which are on this site. About You, I also like fashion wise, I forgot, sorry. But you really need to have a look on like, okay, what is my target group? Where is my target group? And you always should choose those marketplaces where your clients already are. So to make it most convenient for your clients and customers to buy you and to get the best customer experience for your brand. So I would rather join less marketplaces and do there a good job than like spreading your products to, I don't know, 15, 20 marketplaces and have a chaotic setup, right? So
yeah. As I look on this quadrant, I just realized, what about those sneaker marketplaces? They were all the hype a few years ago, like StockX and stuff like that. Would you put those in a sports quadrant or in a fashion quadrant?
good question. So I'm not a sneaker addict, so
Me neither, but there are a few marketplaces that are focusing solely on the sneaker market, because obviously there are a lot of sneaker fanboys and girls out there.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, JD is like focusing on sneakers, definitely. eBay as well. Might sound a bit strange, but eBay does as well. StockX, I don't have on my map, but because I'm not sure who is really a marketplace there or who is a wholesaler.
Yeah, it's difficult to fathom. That's true. That's true for many of those marketplaces. They call themselves, all of them call themselves marketplaces. They don't know if it's StockX or a Pluggy or whatever they're called. There are lots of them, but it's not that easy to find out if you can actually sell there, either as a retailer or as a brand, which brings us back to the problem you were talking about in the beginning.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. But before we just start over the quadrant and do, I don't know, version 56 or whatever, let's talk a bit more, because as you said, this quadrant is not the end of your research for the right marketplace. It's a starting point, right? So you look at it and you go, okay, these are the marketplaces that might be interesting to me as a brand who is selling in this industry. So what do you do afterwards if you look at that? Because as you said, you can't just onboard all 50 of them. So how do you identify the relevant ones?
Yeah, well, so there's like, first of all, you choose like the marketplace, like who's like matching to you and to your target group. And then you have like a different matrix again, because behind every marketplace, there are different countries they are serving. So if you are, for example, looking for more the Scandinavian countries, I would rather choose like Stadium, CD-ON, or Zalando, or About You in terms of like fashion and sports products. So you really need to also get a good feeling about like in which country do you want to sell your products and which are the marketplaces there. So you have like those two decision rows, I would say. First of all, you have the marketplaces and then the countries beyond. Because, for example, with Zalando and About You, you can serve up 26 different countries. Decathlon also so much more, like, I don't know, 7, 8, something around, because they're always expanding. That's also the reason, because marketplaces are expanding, leaving the market. That's also the reason why we have to update it like so often. But to choose the right marketplace, you should definitely choose one who is like stable, where you want to go, where you see also your potential. Yeah. And do it,
I think very
step
important
by
what
step.
your middleware supports, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, that's true as well. So if you have already a middleware and you are already integrated or a full service partner, then definitely have a look on like whom they are integrated to. And where can you also easily connect? I would rather choose one who's already have an API connection with the middleware you are already using, compared to, but we want to go to this marketplace which doesn't have a API connection yet. And it's like, yeah, but we need to do the technical integration, blah, 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 and it takes you months. So rather choose the lower hanging fruits if you get a brand permission, because that's the other thing. Most of the marketplaces you see on this marketplace quadrant for sports, they are closed marketplaces. What does that mean? That means that you need a brand approval to be able to sell your brand's products there. And there are just a few marketplaces which are open marketplaces where everyone can just sell their goods. For example, we have Amazon as a quite open marketplace. As you all know, everyone from every country can sell there, which is sometimes not the best way, I would say, but it is like it is. Then we have Bol is an open marketplace, Allegro in Poland, eBay open marketplace, Kaufland also open marketplace. We have Otto, they also say they're an open marketplace, but you need a German VAT ID and the German headquarter, and logistics also in Europe. So they are like restricted somehow, but all the other ones like Farfetch, Bräuninger, Zalando, ASOS, About You, Best Secret, Decathlon, Sportcheck, Intersport, Colisée, Stadium, Alltrix, ProDirect, Sprinter, Modivo, Galaxus, they are all closed marketplaces. So you need to first also get in contact with them and ask like, hey, we want to sell our brand. We're like category, average sales price, amount of articles. And then they also see, okay, does your brand match to our marketplace? If they say yes, then you can sell your products there. But if no, then I would try again in half a year later.
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes it takes a bit patience. Right. With a look at the time, maybe just one question to round this quadrant up, because you've been doing the sports quadrant for a year now, I think. Can you sort of make a prediction on how the sports industry and the marketplace business is evolving? Is there still a time where the new marketplace is coming up, where things are still moving and it's not really clear who is going to take at least second place after Amazon? Or are we already moving into an area in which we have a bit of consolidation?
So I would say that the sports category is quite interesting in terms of marketplace business right now, because they are super much evolving and growing. So what I can see, like compared to all the categories like fashion, baby and kids, that and also beauty, that in the sports marketplace business grew a lot this year. So they came up, like new marketplaces are still popping up. But I would also like to say that, in my opinion, that the sports specialized marketplaces, they were underrepresented. So
That's true.
I really welcome also this like mixture of marketplaces, because they have really good USPs, and you can really see like, okay, I'm like a high premium sports brand. I'm matching more to Colisée, Farfetch, and I don't know, Bräuninger, or I am like a entry price sports brands. I'm more matching to the other marketplaces. So I think there's like a lot of like interesting things happening in the sports marketplace industry. And they are not in the consolidating mode. They are more like in the, let's see who will make the race, about like, okay, who's like going to like be the most important marketplace. I think Decathlon did a great job in the last 2-3 years, because they opened up 3 years ago, I think, and they have a huge marketplace business in them. I mean, we're a very professional one. And let's see.
And growing very fast as well.
Yes. So let's see how all the other new marketplaces will evolve, and who gets more and more important, or who will also leave the market. So,
Yeah, so interesting times in that industry. Right. If you want to know more about that, if you want, or about the other quadrants that Valerie has done, just check out her LinkedIn, of course, because they're all there and all being updated regularly. Or come over to Cologne next week. As I say, still a few tickets left, as many as you can squeeze out. So where we'll be talking about the marketplace quadrants in, help me out, Valerie, fashion, sports, baby and kids, electronics, furniture, I think.
Home and living, yes.
Home and living and DIY and garden.
Yes.
That's it, is it?
Yes.
And if you can't make it to Cologne, consider switching in our next episode, which is coming out in 2 weeks, where we will just give you a wrap up of what happened in Cologne next week. What were the most interesting things to hear and to see, and then you have at least a little bit of insight in what you will have missed, I guess. But that's the best we can do, apart from inviting you quarterly to Cologne. So, right. Valerie, thank you for today and for that look into the sports industry. And your main task for the next days is drinking tea with honey.
I will do my best. Looking forward to see you all there, and to hear you, and text us. And we're always happy if we get our feedback. Rate us with a 5 stars, obviously, not with something else. And happy to see you, hear you, and hear you next time.
Right. Bye-bye.
Das war Let's Talk Marketplace, der Marktplatz-Podcast mit Valerie Dichtel und Ingrid Lommer.